Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Marking Ariana Free and it's Sunday, which means a new video. Now, hold on, don't worry. It's only because it's Halloween today. Well, yesterday it was Halloween. I thought I need to upload a Halloween themed video because Halloween is like my favourite time of year. Even though I hate autumn, winter, and I don't like the cold and I don't like dark nights. I like Halloween, so I'm doing a Halloween themed video today, and then next week is going to be the final Guess the Reference of the season, and then I'm going to put it on a break for a bit. I think I'm going to do what if videos again, because I know a lot of you have been missing the what if videos, so I'm going to do a few of those, and then once I've compiled a list of some contestants that would like to take part, I'll reboot Guess the Reference for season 2, and I also think someone commented on the video, I can't find the comment because there's just so many, that I should challenge whoever the winner of season 1 Guess the Reference is with the winner of season 2 Guess the Reference. They should go head to head and then we have a final winner. I think that's a really good idea, so I will hopefully do that, but obviously we need 10 more people to try and do it, so hopefully we'll get 10. I don't know though, so just hold your horses for when season 2 Guess the Reference is rebooted. But next week we do have Guess the Reference. We already have our person confirmed. That's all good. So yes, let's crack on with the video. So today I am going to read to you my writing of a TNS Halloween episode. I've written it from scratch. There's never been a Halloween episode done for the next ep. They've done a music video thing which kind of had a little plot to it, but there's never been a full out 20-minute episode, 25 minutes, 22 minutes, I don't know, episode of the next step themed around Halloween. So this is my take on what I would do if I was the writer of the next step and I was doing a Halloween episode. I hope you like it. So the episode begins with both A Troupe and B Troupe working on a group dance. I don't know why I'm talking like a whisper. This is a ghost story. So A Troupe and B Troupe are both doing a whole group routine, and then suddenly the lights would turn off. I thought it'd be really funny if when the lights get turned off, Grace gets dropped from her lift, because, you know, Grace is always on about, oh, please don't drop me in my lift, and it never meant anything on the show. So Grace would get dropped from her lift when the lights turn off. Everyone would also look at Summer, because Summer was obviously the culprit when the lights last turned off in Good Night and Good Luck. So everyone would look at her and she'd be like, guys, it wasn't me, because she'd just be like literally dancing on the spot. They'd know that she hasn't left the room. Nick would then come out of the office and tell them that he's going to go investigate what the problem is, but they need to stop dancing, obviously, because it's not safe to do so. So he tells them all, you can go home early. It's only like an hour earlier than planned. Make sure you take all your stuff with you and I'll go check it out. So he then leaves.
I'm gonna go see if I can fix the lights.
All of the dancers would then go to their bags, they'd bring them into the middle, and they'd use their phone flashlights as flashlights, but Heath and Izzy would pull out actual torch flashlights, because I just think that would be a kind of nod to the zombie apocalypse thing, and people would probably say, why have you got a torch in your dance bag? And it's like, always be prepared for the zombie apocalypse. They'd say how conveniently it's October 31st and the lights have all gone out and it's really spooky, and they'd try and scare the others, but Ethan and Presley really aren't having it. Like, they have plans to go to, so they're like, okay, yeah, let's stop being children. They'd say in their talking heads that they have a Halloween themed party at school tonight, so they need to go and get ready for that, and like leaving rehearsal earlier is just going to give them more time to get prepared, so they kind of, it's a blessing in disguise. So they start to head out, but then Ethan would say, Marcus, you're coming with me, so you need to leave now. And Marcus is like, oh, I don't want to leave yet, and whatever. They'd have like a little tiff between them, but they're clearly meant to be going home together. Out of all the people that stay, they'd all be like sat on the floor in Studio A. Heath would then start to tell a spooky story. He wouldn't like say, oh, let's tell a story. He'd just be like, one night in Toronto, something like that. And then he'd say there was a girl called Presley, and Presley would turn around from the door and be like, don't say my name, and then she'd come back in. So basically everyone's still in the room. He'd then also say that there was an ugly monster person called Ethan, and then he would start arguing with Ethan because Ethan's a very defensive person, so he'd just like throw out some insults about him being the alternate and stuff and whatever, I don't know. Piper would then stop them from fighting and tell them they need to do as they're told, because like Nick said, it's not safe, they need to behave themselves and not act like children. She probably also remind them that they're meant to be professional dancers now, even though they're not, apparently, because the contract was voided by Maria. But Finn would then counteract that and say, yeah, but Nick's not going to know what we're doing in here unless he comes in, so as long as we're fine by the time he walks back through those doors, we can do whatever we like. Everyone would debate what to do, whether people are going to go home, whether they're going to stay, and Rochelle in particular would say that she's going to stay because she's not expecting a ride home for like another 2 hours, so she says that she's going to stick around and do whatever. But overall, Nick would have told them to go home, so literally by anyone staying, they're kind of breaking the rules. So then they'd hear whistling coming from the corridor, and they're all like, oh my gosh, we need to hide. So everyone starts hiding in different places, and by the time Nick walks in, they're all apparently gone, because obviously they brought their bags from the cubbies as well, so there's no bags in there. He'd go into the office, he'd come back out again, lock the door, and he'd also lock the door to the studio. Piper would then really start panicking because they were meant to be out, they're now locked in the building, and you know, the lights are off, they've only got the flashlight lights, and she's just like panicking. Presley and Ethan were really annoyed with the boys as well, because now they're in this situation where they can't even go and get ready for their party, and they also figured that Lily would be annoyed with them as well, because Lily's that kind of person that would just jump on the bandwagon so that she's not accused of being the bad guy. Henry would try and sit everybody down to just kind of pass the time, and because if they can't get out, they might as well do something fun. But Ozzy would walk out to the fire escape door, you know, the one that we don't actually know where it goes, and he'd see that that one is open, so he's like, oh, we can leave if we want to, which calms Piper down and the other people, and they start getting their stuff together again. But Henry's like, hey, no, we could actually like spend some time doing something for the next hour. Maya proposes that they all go ghost hunting, but Pete would say that he's really scared of ghosts, which would be really like sweet of him. And Summer would also say that they shouldn't disrupt the spirits, which would link into her oracle cards and how she's kind of spiritual, with the whole sweet spots and everything. Ozzy and Izzy would say that they were planning to go to the Halloween ball as well, and they had their costumes all ready. Izzy would pull it out of her bag, that she has this full-on like zombie apocalypse hazmat suit, and Heath would then pull his out of his bag, and he's like, oh my god, we've got the same idea. That would just be a really cute Heath-Izzy moment. Maya would say that she's super good at Halloween makeup, so she'd love to do some makeup on people if they wanted to go to the ball, and you know, they wanted some makeup doing, and Henry would be like, yes, do some makeup on me please. And because Henry's agreed to it, Kingston would then say, yeah, do me as well. Kenzie would then want some done, and Ozzy also wants it doing, so they go into the corner with Maya, and she takes her bag, and she's got loads of makeup in there already. She'd say in her talking head that maybe she was going to the ball as well, so she's got all this stuff, and she'd get to work doing that Halloween makeup just for fun. Oh, actually, Ozzy wouldn't go, Finn would go. Cleo would propose to the rest of the people that sat down that they would do dare games, and the dares would include things like trying to touch the chandelier by jumping as high as you can, saying who their least favourite team member is, saying who the worst dancer is on their team, just stuff like that. Like, that would be the truths, not the dares, but the dares would be like touching the chandelier. Before we start seeing them doing the dares though, Presley and Rochelle would go off together, and we just presume that they've kind of left, but they'd actually be down in Studio 1. We'd then see the montage of the dares, and then Maya would reveal everybody's makeup. That would probably also be in the montage. There wouldn't be much word said, it would just be showing what Maya's done to them all. And now that they're finished, Finn would say, do you want to play hide and seek? So everyone is like, yes, let's do hide and seek in the dark. Obviously they have got a way out because they've got the fire escape, so they could go literally anywhere in the building. So Finn volunteers to count, and he starts counting to 100, and everybody scatters. Presley and Rochelle would be in Studio 1 working on some acro stuff. Like, even though Presley says she wants to go home, she'd say in her talking head that Rochelle challenged her, saying that she's not as good a dancer as her, so she obviously can't let that fly. They're just working on some stuff, and they'd eventually come to the conclusion that they're just as good as each other, and they'd be like, oh, do you want to work on a duet maybe? And then like, yes, let's do that. So then they start doing a duet and whatever, and it should be really cute. There wouldn't be any lights in there either, in case you're thinking that's a plot hole. There'd be no proper lights on, there'd just be like little emergency ones, and someone would say in a talking head that they've fitted them since the last power outage, but there's conveniently none in Studio A. So while hiding, Amy and Finn would be in the same spot, and I figured that they'd discuss the whole scandal with Finn cheating on Amy last year, and they'd kind of push it aside properly and properly talk about it, because they never really did on season 7. Amy just kind of said, you know what, do what you like, I don't have time for this anymore. So they'd discuss it a little bit, and Finn would properly apologise, and Amy would be like, it's okay. And then we'd see Marcus and Ethan hiding in a spot together, and they'd have a little bit of flirtatious banter, little sassy banter between them, and Maya would then join them and hide in their spot as well. Winnie would be hiding with Heath, Ozzy and Izzy, and they'd be discussing the Heath and Izzy rivalry, which would then start the Heath and Ozzy rivalry, and that would start them kind of debating and having a little argument, and it would also bring them to discussing Winnie and Izzy's Winnie and Ozzy's relationship, and Winnie would admit to having a crush on him. Grace and Jude would be hiding together as well, and they'd see Finn walk past their spot and then turn left at the end of the corridor, and they'd be like, phew, we got so lucky. And then Cleo would join them. No, she'd walk past them trying to look for a hiding spot still, and she'd be like, which way did Finn go? And Jude would say left, but actually it was the right, because, you know, she doesn't know her left from right. So Cleo would turn left, and she'd literally just be face to face with Finn, and she'd be like, great. So then Finn says, you know what, you're going to help me find them now. Henry, Kingston, Kenzie and Lily would also all be hiding together, but they wouldn't all be able to fit into the same space. So Kingston and Lily would start arguing. They'd probably say, oh my god, you want to break up with me then? Something, you know, we've got to keep it the next set themed. And that their noise though would attract Cleo and Finn, and they'd find them. I thought it'd be really funny if the camera then cuts to just a really dark room and we see in the corner Pete standing there, like it could do a slow zoom, and then it would freeze on him and he'd just be like, dope. Summer would be hiding with Piper and then just be having a general discussion about things, but they've taken it pretty seriously, like they've been very quiet. And then they'd hear music coming from Studio One, so they're kind of like looking around, and Summer would say something like, it's the ghost. It would then cut to Rochelle and Presley doing their duet in Studio One, very carefree, using this emergency lighting. It'd be very like ambient. It'd have a good atmosphere about it. It'd be very spooky. There'd be a lot of contortion in it and stuff. It'd be a really cool duet. Everyone that's been found so far would then go to Studio One and be watching them do the duet. They'd be like, wow, this is super, super cool. And once they finish, they'd say, can you help us find the others? Because they still have to find Jude, Grace, Amy, Piper, Summer, oh, and Ozzy, Winnie, and Izzy, and Heath. So then there'd be a montage of people being found different ways. Like some people would probably like cough too loudly and then get discovered, or they'd just generally be sighted. And they decide to just chill in Studio A again once everybody's found. They'd be laughing and joking. By the way, I forgot to say, when Finn finds Cleo, like right behind him, she wouldn't reveal where Jude and Grace are, obviously, because she wants to help them. So that she'd let the other people find them naturally. Once they're done chilling in Studio A and they've kind of relaxed a bit, they decide that it's probably time to call Nick and tell them that, you know, he's locked them in there. They know that they'll be in trouble, but Nick's kind of a pushover, so they're not too worried about it. Rochelle decides to do the job. She phones him up and Nick isn't happy, but he says that he'll come back, he'll unlock the door, let them all go home, and he'll lock up again. Piper would then say that they probably should do something productive while they're waiting for Nick, just so he's not completely mad at them. But Izzy would say, let's Halloween it up a bit. So we'd see them all doing the opening routine that they started with, but instead of the track that they used, it'd be a Halloween version of it. And they'd just be like doing a bit more spooky stuff. Like maybe if there's a section where they're doing like arms, it'd be like zombie arms instead. Or they just like look at the camera really spookily and stuff like that. Just to spook it up a little bit. They'd get to the end section where Grace's lift is, and she'd be about to jump up into it, and then she'd like shout, wait, where's Pete? And everyone would be like, they'd all scatter to try and find him, and then the camera would just cut to the same position Pete was in when we first saw him, and he'd just be looking really, really sad and lonely, and it would just be really, really funny. And that is where the episode would end. It just literally end on Pete looking a little bit like he'd been forgotten, and he'd be looking around. Everyone would have scattered, and we'd know that Nick was coming to free them and stuff, and that is how the episode would end. I really like it. I think it'd be really funny and just nice to have a chilled episode, because I like the ones where they're just chilling a bit. I like the A-Troupe escape episode in season 6. In season 1 when they had the sleepover, I did like it a bit, but it's one of the forgettable episodes for me. But this one, it would be the same. It's just a forgettable episode that doesn't need to be included in like the main plot or anything, but it's just a little bit of an extra thing. I like how we'd see the dynamics between A-Troupe and B-Troupe. We'd get to see their personalities come through, like how Izzy and Heath's costumes were hazmat suits. It would be funny to see Pete hiding by himself, Amy and Finn like talking about issues that had happened in the season prior, well, the same season. We'd see a bit of dancing as well. We'd get to see 2 group dances and a duet from Rochelle and Presley. Yeah, I just think it'd be a really cool episode. So if the next step are looking for a Halloween episode and you're thinking mine is a good idea, by all means you can take it, but I would like some creative credit, please. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. Make sure you're subscribed, of course, because on Wednesday I will be uploading a ranking of the season 7 A-Troopers, and on Sunday we have the final installment of Guess the Reference for now. I hope you had a great Halloween, however you celebrated it, if you do celebrate it. Yeah, I'll see you whenever for another video. Bye.